Yo, what's good? Today's videos is worst deals to be in as a man. I think it's pretty self-explanatory, but if it isn't, let me explain it. This is just going to be a video basically explaining terrible situations you can be in as a man with women. This is specifically like men and women. So if you're a man and you don't like women, unfortunately this video isn't for you. No hate. But anyways, yeah, I'm gonna get straight to it. First up, we got being in the friend zone. We gotta save the most obvious one for first. As a man, choosing to be friends with a woman who you have interest in is the goofiest thing you can do, or a top 3 goofiest thing you can do. When I say being in the friend zone, I specifically mean being a guy who likes a girl and you either don't have the balls to ask her out, so you just intentionally go and be her friend, or you ask a girl out, she ain't feeling you, but you just gotta be around her and she chooses to keep you around as a friend. Both of those are goofy. Let me explain to you why getting rejected and then still being her friend is goofy. There's a good chance you were already talking to her in a friendly way, so that's how she saw you. Instead of you knowing that you like the girl, you told yourself, hey, I'm gonna go up to her and be very friendly with her, knowing that that's not how life works. And then she told you she didn't see you in that type of way, and you still chose to stick around, when in reality she's just using you for attention. She knows that if you didn't find her attractive, you wouldn't be hanging around her, and you choose to give her that satisfaction. And it's not like a satisfaction that benefits both of y'all, because you want to be in a relationship with her, but you choose to sheer off to the side while she tells you about her problems with other dudes that she's messing with, and you think that makes you a man. My guy, you are a come up, because all the dum-dums that she's gonna date who are for whatever reason cool with her having a guy best friend are going to think some of that, and she's going to use you to make those guys jealous whenever she's mad at them. Because trust me, if she really wants to be serious with that guy and that guy's really making an effort and she's really making an effort, you'll be gone in a second. But walking up to a girl and proposing to be her friend before you even ask her out is also goofy, because you know you like her. Just lead with that. You're going to steer her in a direction of thinking that you don't want that, because in reality she probably wants a man who has balls and is upfront. And women aren't stupid. They know that if you walk up to them asking them about, you like doing this, what's your hobbies, without you even courting her a little bit, and by courting I mean making an effort to get to know her in an intimate way, it's gonna turn her off in any available upcoming. Now here we go. I know that sometimes the friend zone works. I know some of y'all are married with y'all's high school best friends. Shut up. Just let me be hypothetical here. Let me make generalizations. I'm talking about the majority. And the reason why I cringe at it, and I'll forever cringe at it, is because I learned at like the age of 19 and 20 that didn't work. Because I would do that in high school because I knew no better. You niggas be out here 25, 26, 27, even in your 30s doing that, and be wondering why that girl don't like you. Be a man, ask her out. If she ain't rocking with you, on to the next. And heck, let's be honest, she's most likely gonna come around anyway. If you're doing what you're supposed to be doing as a man and she friend zones you, and you continue to do what you're supposed to be doing as a man, going to the gym, grooming yourself, pursuing your career, there's a good chance she might take an interest in that. And when she comes around, you reject her, because why would you take her back? And no, that's not toxic, that's just reality. Next up, we got being a provider man. For those of you who don't know what a provider man is basically a man who is in a relationship with a woman who he pays all her bills, and even if she does have a job, she's keeping all the money to herself. If she doesn't have a job, she's supposedly being a housewife. Sometimes she's not. Now here's the thing. The reason why I say that's a bad deal to be in as a man is because you can easily end up in a situation where y'all have kids, she wants to do something with the kids, it costs money, and now your kids just look at you like an ATM. You might get to a point where you accept that role and you just choose to be an ATM. Now you're physically there for your children, but you're not mentally, emotionally, and psychologically there, or spiritually there. And I know plenty of children, especially young girls, who grow up with their fathers not mentally, psychologically, or emotionally there. And those are the women who have a hard time with men in the future, because they're basically still absent fathers, just absent in a different way. Also, 90% of the time, if you are a provider man, you're with a materialistic girl. And there's not a lot of things worse than materialistic women. And then also, you gotta keep in mind, there's relationships where a man pays 100% of the bills, but they go 50-50 everywhere else, like taking care of the kids, getting chores done around the house, which, what the hell? I can't even feel bad for you if you choose to be in a relationship where you're paying 100% for everything, but then when it comes to work, now you gotta chip in a little bit, but she ain't chipping in. And 9 times out of 10, if you ask her to start paying some things, she's gonna get upset, say something about you. Or if you ask her, hey, you need to do this 100%, she's gonna call you controlling. So there's no win-win in that. And then you gotta keep in mind, y'all have kids and you're the provider. So if, it don't work out, guess who's gonna be paying child support? Guess who might be paying alimony? This is one I feel like I don't even have to talk about for a long time. I genuinely feel like, based off how I described it, it should be pretty clear that this is something that you shouldn't strive for. And I know some of y'all gonna be like, hey, man, Dad, you ain't a man, bro. Man, you supposed to pay for everything, this, that, blah, blah, blah. All right, cool, be in that relationship then. Why be with a girl who wants you to sponsor everything when you can literally be with a girl who is just as attractive, if not more attractive, who is down to work and pay for her own stuff? I'm not even talking bills, like she just pays for like her own things that she uses that you're not gonna use. And that's one of the issues I have. Being a provider in reality is basically putting food on the table, putting a roof over the head, and clothes on the back. There are luxuries and there are necessities. Being a provider is providing necessities. But most of those women who want a provider man want you to provide luxuries as well. That is where I'm coming from. Like, I've never dated a girl who's never offered to pay for shit. I've dated girls who wouldn't let me look at the tab if we go out to eat sometimes. I've dated girls who wouldn't let me pay if we go out to eat sometimes. I've dated girls who would buy me shit. So the idea of a guy like me dating a woman who needs me to be able to give her luxury items is ridiculous. And listen, I'm not no Denzel, I'm not the best looking guy on the planet, and I ain't Bill Gates. But considering that I have dated multiple women who I've never had to sponsor, the idea of me dating a woman who I have to sponsor seems like settling. I don't know if that's not common sense. I don't know if I'm being judgmental. I'm just saying. All right, now third up on this list, we got being a stepdad. Now listen, do not get twisted. I know there are a bunch of stepdads who, are great, this and that. They live the life. And when I say stepdad, I mean you are a man with no kids who is marrying a woman with kids. Because here's the thing, I have a stepdad. My stepdad has more kids than my mom, and he had his kids at a younger age. And my mom and my stepdad didn't get married until all of their kids were adults. That happens a lot. That's not the same. If you are a man in your 20s and you meet a woman and she's just so attractive, this and that, but she has a child and you choose to marry her, that is a risk you are taking. You can literally get on TikTok, type in stepdad, and hear all the stories of the men who are like, oh yeah, nah, I should have never did this. You go in the comments, hear people saying, oh yeah, my stepdad got treated like garbage. Or yeah, I've been a stepdad once, I'm not doing that again. Because here's the reality of it. Those aren't your kids. And those kids know that you ain't their dad. Because you only have one dad. I'm sorry to tell you that. Whether he's in jail, whether he's dead, whether he put hands on your mom, you only have one dad. So any man who tries to come in and display authority and structure who isn't your dad, you're immediately gonna feel some type of way about it. And that is how the human mind works, especially if you're a young boy. And I know I'm probably going to get hate for this. I'm probably going to get some dislikes for this. But let's be honest. If that woman did not have kids or a kid, she probably wouldn't be with you. But yeah, basically, I knew a girl with kids. She dated a bunch of dudes. The relationship never lasted for more than 2 months because she didn't really respect those dudes. And those were dudes who she had rejected before, but they came back around. And women exercise hypergamy, so if they don't deem you as the best option, they're not gonna wanna be with you if they think they can do better. Not all women, but But yeah, it always makes me cringe watching these dudes try and date these girls with kids, and the girl doesn't respect them like that. Or he already had got rejected by her, and he just doubled back around. Like you didn't pick up the hint the first time. Like I said, men who are older than me are making this mistake, and it's very cringy to watch. I know for a fact I could probably never marry a woman with kids, because once you marry a woman with kids, those technically have to be your kids too. Only difference is you probably can't put your hands on them. So basically your responsibility with no authority. And responsibility with no authority is slavery. Men who don't have kids dating women who have kids is kind of the equivalent to a woman dating a man in jail. Because he needs support, because he needs certain things, and she sees him and she's like, hey, this is like my best way of getting like a good looking man. She has to literally date the guy who has a felony or a misdemeanor or whatever, because he's not deemed desirable anymore by women who are actually like, you know, interesting in a way. So you have to settle for a man who is in jail. And listen, that's no hate to dudes in jail, but I'm just being honest. And basically, yeah, that's why it's a garbage deal to be in. Like I said, you already have responsibility with no authority. She probably thinks she can do better. It's a lot going on. And think about it like this before you get in that relationship. The same good traits that you see in her, if you even see good traits in her, you can see in another woman who probably doesn't have kids. I remember some dude was talking about some, man, every girl got kids nowadays. That's not true. That's so far from the truth. That was a coping mechanism you just used. Get in the gym, get a haircut that fits your hair, and get your style up, and you'll be able to find women with no kids. If y'all really want to level up in 2026, y'all got to stop making these lame ass excuses. And last up on this list, we got the side chick deal. Now, for those of you who don't know what the side chick deal is, it is when a stupid ass married man starts having sexual relations with a woman outside of his marriage. And just when he starts thinking, this isn't right, I can't be doing this, I can't be giving her all this money, this and that, she then has, you know, a string over his head, right? Basically saying, metaphorically, hey, if you stop giving me what I want, I'll just tell your wife. As a man, I can't respect you if you put yourself in that situation. And that's because it comes from mainly 2 to 3, maybe 4 bad decisions. The main one obviously being your decision making. The second one being, you know, your inability to control your lust. And basically just having no forms of morals. Like, yeah, there's men who get in a situation of, oh, they didn't really want to marry the woman who they're married to, but they still want to get their rocks off with other women. But the reason why they got married in the first place is because they got the woman pregnant. He was like, oh, I don't want her to have my kid and me not be, you know, married to her. So your inability to control your lust is what got her pregnant. That's one of them. Bad decision making. That's 2. And now it's like, well, you didn't even really want to marry her. So now you go out looking, you know, secretly. Now you're in a situation where this woman wants everything paid for. And if you don't give it to her, she's just going to tell your wife. And if your wife finds out, you know she's going to leave. And guess what? Child support. Literally Sharon Moore. This dude, Sharon Moore, was paying that white chick who worked on his team like way more than everybody else. And everyone was like, oh, this looks a little off. So the fact that you're willing to put yourself in that position as a man, it's hard to look at you like a regular person. And then also, another reason I can't trust you is because you betrayed a woman who was holding it down for you for over like 10, 20 years. If you're willing to betray the mother of your children, Lord knows what you're gonna do to me. If you're gonna stab her in the back, you're gonna shoot me in the eye. Like, why should I trust you? Now granted, I'm not saying everyone's a bad person who does these things, but it is something to look at and really think about. And listen, if I triggered somebody with this video, if I triggered the men, maybe some of the women with this video, I'm not gonna apologize, because you know I'm just a man of my thoughts. But I think it should just be seen as more of like a peek in the mirror. But either way, I have not much to say. Thanks for watching if you watched this far, you know, and trying to get that watch time up. Still got a little bit of a cold, but yeah, like I said, I appreciate y'all for watching me. Hey, see you next time. Deuce.